God, you learn new internet stuff every day, don't you? Okay. Well, cool. So everybody's ready. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Yeah. Mine's recording. We're good.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hit record here. All right, guys. We are here. We are live. Crypto YouTuber extravaganza. We love doing these, having a lot of people on. So I'm joined today by my friends, Crypto Somniac, Crypto Blood, and BTC Sessions. So if you guys could go ahead and introduce yourselves, say what your channel is about and stuff like that. I'll start with you, Benny.
Yeah, my name's Ben. I'm from a channel called BTC Sessions. A lot of how-tos, interviews, things like that. Basically trying to break down stuff as simply as possible, especially for newcomers. So I've been at it since 2016, and I got into crypto in 2014. So a few years, and excited to see how things go these next couple of years.
Nice. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm Crypto Blood, and got a YouTube channel. It's been about a year and a half now with YouTube. 5.5 years amateur in cryptos. I say that because we're always learning something new. This is a new industry, and I'm just glad to be here. My channel is Crypto Blood on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoBlood_.
Awesome. Jason?
Cool. I am Jason from Crypto Somniac. Sam and Snay originally started this channel and brought me on earlier this year. So I have been into crypto since late 2016. Pretty active trader throughout the entire time, and totally obsessed with the technology. Our channel is really, we do kind of similar to what Ben's doing. You know, a lot of our channel, a lot of technical analysis, a lot of fundamental analysis and trading strategies, tips, tricks, tutorials, and it's a lot of me jawing and talking about my opinions on what I think about projects and financial markets. So try to provide entertaining and educational content that's actually helping push this stuff forward.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you know, definitely glad to have you guys all here today. I'm going to kind of turn it over to Benny. And just so everyone knows, my name's Ben also, and a lot of people know that. So, you know, I'm Bitboy. That's Benny. He's BTC Sessions. So we're gonna let him take over. So if people say Ben, don't get confused. So
yeah. I'll still get confused. It's fine. so it sounds like we're kind of we're picking topics back and forth here. We're each picking a topic, and so I had a topic that I've had an interesting little, I guess, progression in thought this week, and it's around this current push for everybody to think in Satoshis when they're thinking of Bitcoin instead of bits or millibits or full Bitcoin, Satoshis. And part of this came from, I like using Samurai Wallet on Android. I really love that wallet. And just this week, they got rid of all fiat conversions on their platform.
I read about that.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so now all you can
think.
and that was my thought. And so all of a sudden it's just either full Bitcoin or Satoshis. That's all you can see. Those are your only options. And I was like, this is my favorite wallet. And now I don't know if it's usable. But my thinking has changed over the course of the week because the more I think about it, their argument was you always have to go to an external source to agree upon a price, because a lot of the time you'll be sending somebody Bitcoin and they're using a different wallet, and that wallet uses a different source for the price. And there's this weird misunderstanding in between saying, oh, I got $1 less or $10 less, depending on how much you're sending. And people start looking at their wallets in terms of dollars instead of the actual units that are being used, which is Bitcoin as a separate currency. There's always this peg that is trying to be maintained. And so when you look at it like that and people start really looking at, I have this much Bitcoin instead of my Bitcoin is worth this much, I think it changes the dynamic and the thinking in people's heads. And it's a bit of a pain to have to check the price before you send to somebody if it's not just a merchant. But I think it's actually a move in the right direction. I'm actually really starting to like the idea. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Like I heard Blood saying, no, too early. So I don't know. I'll go to you first.
Hell, it's early for me, man. Like, I mean, I've been in it for a while and I still don't, feel comfortable just converting or knowing, the value of a Bitcoin. I remember back years ago, Andreas Antonopoulos always talked about how at some point, Bitcoin will be so big, we'll be converting or looking at Bitcoin in millibits. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think once Bitcoin gets a little bit bigger in value and more people use it, I think it's a good move. But right now, maybe a little like that wallet may just strictly be for advanced users like you, Ben. So it won't be for the masses, that's for sure. They're not going to be ready for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll jump in here, and just so you guys know, if you guys see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone where the chat is. So
yeah, like what? That's what I was gonna say. If you see me looking over,
So don't think I'm ignoring it if people are talking. But I agree with Crypto Blood here for sure. I think it's too early. I think one of the ways you can really tell the difference between someone who's been in crypto for a minute and someone who is new is whether they talk in dollars or they talk in Satoshis. Because a lot of your advanced traders and your people who've been in it for a while, like, they're going to talk Satoshis. Like, I remember when I made that transition, But the problem is new people to the space aren't going to be able to understand that at all. They're only going to – why do people come into the space? For investment reasons, for money, Exactly. That's the entry point. Of course, then you get in, a lot of us fall down the rabbit hole, and then it turns into a much, much bigger deal. But, I think that that's really going to turn off new users to that wallet. I think there's a place for it. But another thing is, I mean, what's the decimals? Is it 10 million total? Like it goes to 10 millionth place? Is that right?
Eight,
right?
Eight decimal places.
Yeah.
And then there's 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin.
Right.
100 million? Okay, right. So it's so hard to keep up with the value of your different projects because they're so wide ranging. Like you look at something like Holochain that's at like 16 Satoshis, and then you look at something like, Ethereum, which is at, I don't even know how many Satoshis, I think around 0.03 or something like that, which would be like 3 million Satoshis, whatever it is. It's just so crazy trying to do that math on the fly, even for people who are far advanced. So I think it is a little bit too early, but I do think there is a good aspect about changing the
maybe in China where their math proficiency is much higher than America.
Well, actually, what's the perfect? I was tweeting about this. The perfect conversion right now is Indonesia because $1 US is about 15,000 rupiah in Indonesia, and $1 US is about 15,000 Satoshis.
Nice.
So that's not a bad. And I spent some time in Bali last couple years ago, and so I'm used to that conversion already.
Right.
And so now I'm like, oh, I can actually start to make that comparison. Although with the changing price of Bitcoin, it's difficult. So yeah.
So to chime in on my thoughts on that, I'm kind of with you, Ben, a little bit. Like, I think that it is a step in the right direction for shifting the mentality, but I'm also with the guys on this side of the screen as well in that it might just be too early, right? Like I've been using Ledger Live. I don't know if you guys use a Ledger, but the new Ledger Live app is actually pretty slick. And one of my favorite parts about it is, we have a bunch of team members across the world that I'm paying with cryptocurrency. And my favorite part about it is I know what their dollar rate we've agreed on is, and I can just punch that in and it automatically does the calculation for how much ETH or Bitcoin to send, which for now is all right. But I do long for the day when we care about a Satoshi as a Satoshi and the dollar value is irrelevant. How long that's going to be, I don't know.
Yeah, how long? Let's talk about that. How long do you think it'll be till we get to that point, crypto?
I think realistically, at least another 10 years, right? I mean, because consider this, right? Not everybody, if you think about the whole world, right? Like you can spend your dollars pretty much anywhere. You're not going to always get the best conversion rate, but if you're in China and you have dollars, chances are probably they'll take it. I can tell you for sure, if you're in Mexico and you have dollars and not pesos, they'll take it because I was just there like 2 weeks ago and I did not have any pesos. I had dollars and they'd pull out their calculator and do the conversion. So that's the way that it stands. Is like, I guess the U.S. dollar is sort of a base currency for a lot of other fiat currencies.
Yep.
But I don't know how long it's going to take to shift until it's not only that the USD is a base currency, but also Satoshis are a base currency. Because again, it's really going to come down to how many people have adopted this technology and are actually utilizing it for what its intended purpose is, as opposed to just the speculative investment, right? Like, people need to actually use this stuff as a form of currency. And I think, it's going to take a larger percentage of the world's population than 1% to be actively buying and holding this stuff, before we see people starting to value things in Satoshi value, right?
So to tag on to that then, so we're pretty much, all of us here, I imagine, in agreement that the majority of people in cryptocurrency right now, other than some far use cases that are outside of this bubble, are here for investment purposes. Is that pretty unanimous?
We're all speculating on this because we saw a
speculation.
Made some money, and we were like, oh, that's cool. Hopefully, I'm guessing you guys are probably in the same boat as me, but you made some money and we're like, I need to learn about this, and started looking into underlying technology, and we're like, oh, this really can change things for the better. Will it? I don't know. I hope so. That's what I'm here for.
So since people are diving into this for an investment in an investment mind frame, do you think that having people looking at Satoshis versus the dollar value, do you think that has a bit of a play on your brain as far as preventing people from using it as a currency? So like, if I see something and I'm like, I want to buy something for $10, and then I go, oh, I'm going to buy something for 150,000 Satoshis. I'm now like, do I want to lose that many Satoshis on this sandwich?
Right.
Big problem.
That's exactly the problem with cryptocurrency in general as it stands now. Is that dude, I mean, how many times have we heard the story about the guy that paid 14,000 Bitcoin for 2 large pizzas, right? Everybody knows that story.
Laszlo.
Right? Yeah, and like, awesome. He was using it for a currency, but do you think that the day he saw it hit 20 grand that he was happy with his pizza purchase?
I think he ended up pretty rich anyways, though, but yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, we all have that where we look back a few years and I'm like, oh God, I spent $2,000 at Starbucks.
That's fair.
Yeah, and so that's what, for me, it's like, and me and Crypto Somniac, we've had this discussion when we were out in San Fran, man. It's just like, I don't think that Bitcoin is really going to be used as a currency in that manner if it's going to be truly a deflationary type of currency, because it's always going to be increasing in value over time. So especially when we have the next halving, it's always going to be increasing in rarity and value. So I'm not going to spend my Bitcoin. I'd rather spend something else that's either closer to being inflationary or inflationary.
Yeah, I think that's the catch-22 right there. That's the catch-22, which is, we want the price to go up. How is the price going to go up? Well, when more people know about it, more people get interested, more people come into the space. And, then at the same time, we don't want to spend any of it. We want to hold it. And so how are we going to be able to be transacting value with other people with this currency to get them to know about it if all we're doing is hodling? That's why one thing I suggest to my viewers is have kind of 2 accounts. Have your one account that it's your investment, and then have another where if there's anything that you can buy with crypto, whether it be like some kind of monthly subscription you're using online, whatever it might be, take your fiat, put it in a separate account for for Bitcoin or whatever, and that's your spending account. And that's how we can kind of knock down 2 birds with one stone.
So you're saying essentially buy with Bitcoin and replace fiat with Bitcoin every time with that account. I
mean, obviously it's very limited. I mean, because the whole other part of this discussion is like, where can we really spend it at right now? I know Monarch token has got a cool little aspect to it when it,
the merchant plugin is live now. It exists.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
No. Yeah. So and again, this is that's another vector to help people start to be able to use it, right? That's ultimately really the thing is merchants aren't going to accept this until the volatility settles down, right? Generally,
Yeah.
unless they are also willing to
thinkers.
speculate, right? They're cash flush enough that they're like, yeah, like Square is a perfect example. Square has made enough money that they're just like, you know what? We've got enough liquidity pool. We're going to allow people to buy and sell Bitcoin directly from our app. They're not an exchange,
and
else, but they're
many of the
they're
merchants out there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, many of the merchants, like I know with Coinbase earlier, you know, you could set it up where when you received a payment, it immediately swapped to US dollar or whatever local currency. So
Monarch will have that same
thing.
So like you don't even have to actually accept crypto payments. You can just be like, yeah, we'll use this Monarch plugin and I will let everybody else pay with crypto and I'm going to get fiat on the back end. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting stuff.
I think my goal is the opposite, where I'll spend fiat until nobody will take it anymore, and I have to spend my Bitcoin.
I think your strategy was pretty solid, right? Because honestly, if you are, I mean, that was really how I did a lot of last year. Was basically when Coinbase was still allowing credit card purchases, I would go buy every time I saw a low entry. I would go buy some Bitcoin. And then I would just immediately go over to my banking app and pay off the credit card, right? So I could still transact on it right away. And then I was also getting the cashback points on the back end. So I thought I was pretty clever. Basically it was just, I would just buy more. So that's the reason I'm saying that's a good strategy, is because it sort of helps you dollar cost average over time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So pretty much our consensus in this is that we love the idea of eventually people valuing in Satoshis, but it's going to take some time, and Samurai may or may not have jumped on that early, maybe.
Yeah, I see a lot of stuff coming out too early to market lately.
Right.
Like there's a lot of really great ideas for crypto and blockchain projects that I've seen, but they're just too soon because I'm trying not to call out any names of projects, but there's ones that are a really nice crypto alternative to existing platforms that people are using, but because people are still scared of the volatility and don't understand, the value of decentralizing your data and things like that, they're just not ready for it yet. So, they're not going to buy into a system to then be subject to the volatility. And so I just see a lot of projects that are like, this is a great idea, but you're too soon to market.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Awesome. Now, there were some other topics that we were going to dive into. Who wants to jump in? I'll put mine to rest and let somebody else take it.
I just kind of wanted to. So I got murked on my stream the other day about a misconception I had about Ripple. But then I think that there's a lot of misconceptions in the world about Ripple. They claim they're a fully decentralized currency, but they have 55 million of them in reserve that they can basically release whenever they want. And that, the argument for that is, no, we can only release up to 1 million a month via smart contract, and then it goes back into escrow. But then there's also a sub clause in there that says they can sell it when they need to raise funds and things. So how is that different than fractional reserve banking? Can we get into that subject, guys?
I'm glad that we jumped into this.
My Twitter handle ends in no XRP, so I did that last year, bro. So that kind of sums it up for me. But I am learning more. I will say that, Jason, I'm learning more about XRP in a way that because I always ignored it. I knew it was a cancer to this decentralized effort that many of us are trying to push. But yeah, I'll let someone else go, and then I'll kind of give my 2 Satoshis on it.
What's that value in US dollars? I need to know. I think that's like 100 Satoshis. Okay. So, I'm not, my strong suit on my channel is not, understanding the financial sector. That's not my background and things like that. Mm-hmm. So really what I can comment on is what I see with the Ripple community and how this relates to this conversation, which is, when you have a group of people who are dedicated to one crypto, and, of course, XRP is not the only one that has people dedicated to it. But it seems like with the XRP people, if you're in XRP, you're all in. And then a lot of us take the standpoint of yeah, maybe we invested at one time, but, we believe it's not what the decentralized movement needs or wants, so we kind of step back from it. So you have these people who are obsessed with XRP. They're obsessed with trying to give you, all kinds of statements about why it's good, and kind of similar to some other projects. EOS is one that comes to mind. I know Crypto Blood loves EOS, but they have like a FUD debunker page. They have all of the lines that you can say, like Ripple is centralized, or Ripple froze Jed Michaela's funds, or whatever it might be. And then they have this go-to list of things where they can go to and say, oh no, but check this link. Oh no, look what David Schwartz said. Oh no, look what came out of the conference. And to me, that's like very worrisome, because you can't really have an open dialogue with a lot of these people, because they just kind of say like, oh no, look at this link. David Schwartz said it's decentralized, so it's decentralized. Oh, they did freeze Jed Michaela's funds, but it was actually through an exchange, and it wasn't how you think it was. Like, yeah, but they got frozen. So I
controlling your money.
Yeah. So, I mean, the number I've seen is like 61% of the nodes are centralized, and that over time they say that, there's a process to decentralizing it. And like, okay, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. I'll say maybe in the future they'll be able to solve the centralized problem. But right now, the only people that believe that Ripple is decentralized are the people that are invested in Ripple. So
oh, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I was really excited that they got like the blockchain expert to speak at Swell.
Oh yeah.
The Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton has been a man that's been involved in blockchain and cryptocurrency since the beginning.
He's been involved in some chains and some whips.
Right. Oh man, that was a good one.
But yeah, exactly. So let's talk about that as well. Like, is what they're doing? Okay, so let me take a step back and say, I'm not naive enough to not think that Ripple is going to have some place in the bridge.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
It is. It just is. Whether I like it or not, it just is, right? So I'm not naive enough to say that that's not going to happen. So with that, is it acceptable to let that fox into the henhouse in order to help try to drive forward mainstream adoption?
I don't think so, man, because that's the danger with Ripple, is because many people, like last year, I was going around the city, giving people tutorials about what cryptocurrencies are all about and all that. And, I would get to these events, and most of them were brand new people into the space, and they all had Ripple, and they felt like that was a cryptocurrency. In my book, it's not, because it's centralized and owned by one organization. And
100% pre-mined.
And 100% pre-mined. So that the issue that I have with the guys is that I feel like it taints the definition for newcomers into the game about what cryptocurrencies are. And that's where the danger is, because now they don't know how to differentiate from real from fake, in my opinion. So I like what you said though about Crypto Somniac, about it being, I think it's going to be successful. You know what I mean?
They've done too many.
Too much money behind it.
That's it. And they're like, they are business.
Doing partnerships.
They are legitimate business. They are business people, and they are connected. So, those things.
So I just don't want us, as like, we're so early. We forget this. We're so early that majority of the world doesn't even own a crypto. Okay. Right. So I don't want them, when that flood comes in, to be them owning Ripple.
And I think that's a big debate going on right now, which is, would you rather people come into crypto through Ripple or not come in at all? And that's a discussion my friend Crypto Stash and I had, in a little chat about this, where I say, like, for me, hey, Ripple was the second altcoin I bought. I bought a Litecoin, and then I bought some Ripple. I still got it sitting in my Toast wallet that I can't get rid of, because I got, less than 20 or whatever, $20 or less than 20, whatever it is. Right. When Ripple goes to 589, though, I'll be able to pull it out of it.
Let's do the math on that real quick.
That's
another thing. I
had a guy, no offense to a guy that's in my Telegram group. I mean, I love if you're an XRP person, you're in my Telegram group, I love you the same. But you know, I'm not going to pull out the calculator to do that math because
Bitboy, were you the one that dropped that meme in one of the chat rooms we're in, where it was like it listed all of the cryptocurrencies, what they were going to be at in 2018 or 19?
No,
Had like Ripple at 100, had Ripple at $100, Bitcoin at $250,000. It was funny.
I was the first one to laugh at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They left off Bcash in that list too, didn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the question though. Would you, because that's how I got really interested, you know, in altcoins, was through Ripple. A lot of people did, but is that a good thing for them to come in? And in my opinion, like, hey, I'm glad I came in, so I'm glad it was there to get my attention. So hopefully people come into the space through it and then don't become like fanboys, you know, of Ripple, and kind of can see the whole picture of cryptocurrency. You know, so I don't know. What do you think, Benny? What do you think about that?
Well, okay, so I think that it's not a threat in that it can do anything to any of the other cryptocurrencies. That's the beauty of the space.
That's true.
Is as you know, okay, Ripple's there doing its thing. That doesn't affect Bitcoin in any way, right? Like Ripple's not. It's not hindering the protocol that is Bitcoin. Right. What can happen though is complacency, where people they don't bother researching things and they get complacent and they just use whatever's there, and then they get burned down the road. So exactly, yeah.
It works fine. Venmo works fine, right? They work fine. The problem is that the fractional reserve banking is going to steady make the value of my fiat go down. And whereas like with Bitcoin, there's only going to be 21 million ever. So as some get burned or lost, or wallets, you know, lose private keys, or et cetera, it only gets more valuable. Whereas like with the dollar, Ripple can just dump. If they really are like, we need to do this to acquire some things, and they're like, we're going to double the value, or the supply on the market, which is going to half the value of your investment.
So my concern has always been, and someone was kind of explaining to me, I'm like, how does the actual XRP token fit into their ecosystem? And then someone said, well, the X current is going to fold in the XRP token into it when they get to that point. Do you guys know anything about this X rapid to X current transition and how that token is going to be utilized?
I can tell you a little bit about it, because this is part of what I got served. I was of the opinion saying, I was like, no, you don't even need to use the XRP token to utilize any of their protocols. Yeah, that's not correct. I was mistaken. So what I found out by reading into it is effectively what X Rapid is going to be is bank here needs to send money to bank in the Philippines, for example. Bank here through the X Rapid network purchases XRP. The XRP is sent to a wallet in Philippines where it immediately executes a market order for the fiat value. So, okay, now it has a use case, right? It works, it does a thing, it does what it's supposed to do, and that's okay. Does that give you any incentive to hold those tokens? Because the businesses that are going to actually be using it are only going to be buying it and then selling it, right? Immediate. Buy, move, sell, immediate. It's open, close position if you're a trader, right? Yep. How is that going to help other than just pure volume? I don't understand how that gives value to the token.
Well, and the velocity.
You want to incentivize somebody to hold the token, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think the argument is how many banks switch over to this from the SWIFT code. And supposedly where the 589 number comes from is if 100% of the international transactions were being done with XRP instead of with the SWIFT codes in the current state, then the price would be like 589, because there would be so much volume and so much money running through. And there's a limited supply of Ripple. And while 84 billion sounds like a really, really, really crazy amount, that's nothing compared to the amount of money that gets transferred internationally, you know, over the span of a year, say.
Very true. I mean, in the FX, I trade FX, you know, that turns over 89 trillion a day. So very true. That's very
okay. So I want to dive into something here. Okay, I just had this thought right now. When it comes to XRP, the use case is, okay, you buy it to temporarily use it as a payment rail. What happens when countries introduce their own digital currencies and they know
that's what someone else was saying too. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is very low. Like it's no barrier to entry with XRP, in my opinion.
Yeah, like and like why use it at all? Like if you could just send say the Gemini backed dollar, you could send that instantly. Right. It's an ERC20 token. Why the hell would you then convert into XRP? Instead, just convert to a stable coin, or if the US eventually issues their own stable coin and all the liquidity flows out of stable coins that have been created by Gemini, why are you using any other mechanism other than the digital currency you want?
Well, herein lies the perpendicular nature of cryptocurrency and institutions and XRP. That's why I think that eventually, like, it's going to be what survives, the institutions or Bitcoin, the peer-to-peer nature of doing things, or the way we're doing things currently. Because this is a great point you bring up. Like, if everyone switches over to Bitcoin, then there's no need for XRP because nobody's transacting value with fiat. So, and we're a long ways away from that happening. And maybe in the United States that will never happen. I can't remember who it was that just came out and said that. It was the crypto dad, the CFTC guy. Giancarlo, I think. He said that in the United States we may never switch over, but 2/3 of the world will, where the paper the money is printed on is worth more than the money itself. So
Venezuela, that's happening right now.
Yep.
And
Argentina is starting to happen too.
Copy called the Petro, which is basically literally Dash.
I saw that today. I
didn't know that. Is that Petro is literally Dash? Okay.
Basically, you know how like Tron got yelled at for copying a white paper?
Yeah.
Venezuela just copied the whole thing. They're like, white paper? Nah, we're taking.
They didn't even merge different parts. They just did one.
The best part is that the Dash people kept on being like, we're doing such great work in Venezuela. Well, yeah, there you go. You just created the Petro
currency.
Yeah, that was a topic that I was going to bring up. Actually, was the petrodollar, man. And
let's do it.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
All right, so I actually had Jim Willie on my show. What was it, a couple of days ago, and we talked about it. And he told me, I didn't know this, but so the petro is supposedly backed by crude oil, right? They like a basket. It's crude oil and then some mixture of precious metals, right? So he told me that they don't even like the crude that Venezuela has is called heavy crude. It's not light. It's not light crude. So it takes a lot of refining to do. So they have to get that from like China or somewhere. So they don't even have the necessary oil to really back it. It's not like it's being backed by their internal oil supply. So I was like, are you serious? So I think, what do you guys think about this whole petro? Will it work? I think it's a great step in the right direction, but I think they're going to fail. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. They're trying to get around these sanctions that the U.S. Has placed on them. And what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of the opposite, to tell you the truth.
Really?
So what they've done, from my understanding, is the petro is pegged to the still unearthed oil reserves that are under the ground that they don't have any infrastructure to actually pull out of the ground.
Correct. That's what Jim Willie was saying.
Yeah, and then they're issuing a currency on top that is pegged to the petro. So they now have two mechanisms through which they can continue to inflate the hell out of their currency. So
I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about the currency on top of it.
Yeah, so they've got another currency pegged to the petro, so they could inflate that, and they could more or less, like, it sounds like I imagine they'll have control over most of the master nodes for the petro.
It's all centralized. Yeah, it's no decentralized nodes at all. So they could.
Yeah, and not only that, you don't even really know, like, are those oil reserves really there? Mm-hmm. And they'll probably never be pulled out of the ground ever. So, like, if you're the end user holding the fiat currency that you have that's pegged to the petro, that's pegged to these oil reserves, that oil will never be obtained to actually back the currency on those other two.
You know what that sounds like to me?
What?
A crypto scam?
Yeah, sounds like a scam. Like it actually sounds like the same thing that led us to the subprime housing.
Yeah, COMEX. Yeah, the whole COMEX thing.
You're packaging. the biggest problem with fractional reserve banking is so much of the money that is being created out of a promise to pay, right? So I had a bunch of money. You guys each gave me $100. I had this $100, and now I'm going to loan out 10 times the amount that you guys gave me. All I have is $300, right? But I'm going to loan out $3,000 to everybody else, and then I've got contracts that say they're going to pay. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to sell this to, you should invest in my company because I have all these people that are going to pay me over the next 30 years, and I'm guaranteed to make money. Well, what happens when those people default on those loans, right? Just like what happens when they never pull that oil out of the ground, or that they don't have the infrastructure to refine it, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you're backing stuff with empty promises, which is what our entire financial system is built on right now. It's all, you know, people think crypto is volatile. The United States economy is such a house of cards. It's just that most people don't have the financial savvy to really look behind the curtain and go, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Or they don't want to.
It's rehypothecation is the name of it. But what you were saying, you have $300, you lend out $3,000. Well, those people now have that contract that promises that you are going to give them that money. They can then lend out the contract to another person.
Exactly the problem. Now you see the problem. That is exactly the problem.
So from $300, you have all these people it's insane how quickly, and like any peg, like let's say you default, all of that comes tumbling down.
Yes.
Fractional crypto reserve, huh? We're just doing I say we're doing the same thing, the old thing in a new way, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the human nature. You can't really change human nature. And
I guess my thing is, I was just more so kind of excited to see a country kind of at least take a step toward like a crypto something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
Estonia was doing it as well, and like the European Union
shut that down. Yeah, Draghi shut that down. Yeah. I remember that.
Well, I think that the issue is, like, in theory, it sounds great. We have a country moving to crypto. However, it's a giant crypto scam. So it actually
we got BitConnect 2.0.
Right.
Pretty much.
it's Venezuelan, so it must be Bitconnecta, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So we've got this country coming into crypto, and it's going to be a scam. It already is a scam. It's going to end badly. And even though it seems like a step in the right direction, is it actually a step in the wrong direction? Because what's going to happen when the house of cards comes tumbling down? What are the people who are already skeptical about crypto going to say about crypto at that point? And I would like to point out that I do have a good friend who lives in Venezuela, Javier Bastardo on Twitter. He's in a little group that I'm in, and we've got to know each other pretty well. And here's the really beautiful thing about this, though. All of the people in Venezuela realize it's a scam. So it's not like the people in Venezuela are like, oh, sure, we'll go with this. I mean, they don't have a lot of other options due to the hyperinflation and things going on right now, other than to, try to buy Nano or Dash on the black market for some eggs, which a lot of them are doing. At least they recognize this. And it's not one of these situations where we see sometimes, like in North Korea, where it seems like people don't even really understand what's going on in the rest of the world. At least they're kind of aware of this. And, I don't know if they'll be able to prevent some kind of disaster from happening, but the whole country is pretty much a disaster right now. I mean, you got military people killing people in the streets and all kinds of stuff. So it's just a bad situation down there.
It's a nightmare. You got to take wheelbarrows full of cash to get a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
So Bitboy, what's the word on Dash down there? How's that coming along? I've been wanting to ask people.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dash and Nano both are making strides down there. And, both of those communities are behind it. But I will say that Javier, I believe he did say that Nano was one that people were using down there. Obviously, it's fast, it's feeless, and when you're looking at sending value, and I can't remember how many nanos it cost them to get a carton of eggs. I did know it a couple weeks ago when I reported on it. But like take a Bitcoin or take a Coinbase fee, for instance. Like a Coinbase fee for to buy or sell on there. It's a pretty significant amount when you're talking about you have hardly any money at all.
Right. Yeah.
So, if you pull out $1,000 out of your Coinbase account and they charge you, $20 or whatever, like, yeah, it kind of hurts. But you're talking about every penny down there is precious, you know, then anything that's feeless is going to be good. So, and then Dash also is Dash feeless, or is it has super low fees? I can't remember which it has.
Pretty low fees.
But it's quick. It's quick too.
Very quick. Yeah.
Well, and it's a privacy coin, which I think is probably what they're.
Well,
Yeah. Hey, I should have done. I should have said it's a privacy.
It's a privacy coin.
Yeah.
It has some fake privacy options on it, but
well, I mean, if for any of you guys who don't watch my channel, no, I'm Mr. Monero fan. So like,
Yeah,
I'm
Monero
Snarks,
too.
I'm like, yeah, cool. But ring signatures, I think, are the best.
like Enigma. Enigma is another one I kind of like.
But you know, that's why we all were at the Litecoin Summit, right? And that's one of my gripes with Litecoin is that I like what I see Dash doing, what I see Digibyte doing, going down there to those countries where there's, you know, the need for cryptocurrencies are at max. Like,
yeah,
I don't see that happening with like Litecoin. What do you guys feel about that? Is that something that
there's a lot of companies that have talked a lot of bullshit. Pardon me. I hope we can swear on this stream, but they have talked a lot of BS about banking the unbanked. If I hear one more crypto come out and talk about banking the unbanked and not go to places like Venezuela and not go to Nigeria and not
right
money grab, scam, cash grab. There's so many things that are just like they write a nice big white paper that's got this great idea in it and all these humanitarian and idealistic things so that they get people like me who are like, yeah, making the world more fair is a good thing. And then a bunch of people invest in the project and they just really had no plans to deliver.
Oh, I'm definitely more for meme the unmemed. That's the one.
Yes, that is a very important question.
I think Crypto Love put it best, like, you know, adoption with crypto is going to come from the bottom up, not the top down. So that's why I think it's very important that these projects start there, start at the bottom, start where the country's fiat systems are in hyperinflation mode.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's how you really get adoption, man, in my opinion.
Well, and actually go there. Like, why tell us about it? Tell the people there about it, right? So if your white paper reads like a Habitat for Humanity ad on TV, then there's a problem, right?
Look for family.
Yeah, right. For just Satoshis a day. You
Sarah McLachlan playing in the background.
Dude, don't hit me with that Sarah McLachlan pet ad. I'll start
man.
so sad.
Baby with the flies on their belly. Yeah, I know. Bad.
Oh man.
But seriously, right? I mean, that's. I've had a lot of I haven't had a lot to say about Dash, but it's not been one that I've historically been like, great, or I haven't been very vocal about it at all. But it is. I do respect the fact that they are down there actually.
Yeah, me too, man.
Like that's they see the need and are actually taking action.
Digibyte too. Don't forget the Digibyte team.
You just got 100 likes on your video.
Yeah, I can't forget them. My Twitter feed.
Big shout out Digibyte.
Now, Jason, I know we were talking before we came on here. You had one other topic that you wanted to dive into.
Yeah, hurry up though. Benny's got like 5 minutes.
I mean, mostly I was just ranting about mostly I had my Ripple rant to go on today. I don't know. Other than that, I mean, it's.
Or was it? Maybe
I
was
was thinking a lot about the fractional reserve bank.
I had a topic.
So I'm trying not to rant too much.
Yeah. Save that for Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, guys, you come onto my live stream and you skip my freaking topic. Now I'm pissed.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Do not skip my mother. Right? This is a mother family friend.
Hold on, let me see if I can bring up I got some. Go ahead, man. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So my topic was basically, I just want to talk about, Vitalik Buterin coming out on Twitter and kind of responding to an article and attempting to detach himself from Ethereum. We've already seen Charlie Lee.
Whoa.
We've already seen Charlie Lee detach himself from Litecoin. Now he still goes to Litecoin Summit, and he isn't doing a really good job of detaching himself. But
the Litecoin Foundation, how detached is he really?
Yeah, well, I mean that was what he was saying with why he sold his Litecoin. He said he sold his Litecoin because he didn't want to be able to have the power to be able to make a tweet about Litecoin and it affect the price. So he tried to distance himself from it. And I think all of these guys will, who are kind of in charge of these projects will, I'm just telling you what he said. That's what he said.
If he makes a tweet tomorrow, it's still going to affect the price.
But he doesn't have the same level of investment in it. He doesn't have the same level of investment where it was kind of affecting his own. Yeah, that was. So that was from my bad lip reading video I did. That was what he was really talking about when I dubbed my fake Charlie Lee voice over him. But, so anyways, back to Vitalik, though. Do you guys think, and this is really kind of a larger conversation about, do you guys think that projects do better when they have someone attached to them? Or is that actually kind of like against the decentralized nature of what crypto is supposed to be about?
It's worse that they have people attached to them. Yep, it's worse. Bitcoin would have failed a long time ago.
Oh, I agree with that.
Satoshi was, who he was.
If they could have put Satoshi Nakamoto in jail in 2008, they would have.
Yeah, if Satoshi Nakamoto was Bill Clinton, we would have been, we found out that it would have been over a long time ago.
Yeah. I did not have relations with that white paper.
Yeah.
That's a good point, though. And that's something that I talked about with someone while I was at Litecoin Summit. I can't remember who it was. But how, basically I believe that Satoshi is dead. I think like half of the people he could possibly be are dead and the other half are still alive. And if so, they've detached themselves completely from it to this point, at least. So I like to think he's not going to come out of hiding at any point, one way or the other. And I think it's a good thing because people's values and their vision change over time. And we've seen this with several different people involved in crypto. So Satoshi probably, whoever he was or is, would have somewhat different views right now. We're always talking about what is Satoshi's vision? Well, if he were still alive and involved in the project, his vision would have changed. I think that's really fortunate for Bitcoin. And that's why, one day he's definitely going to be, some kind of legend, I think, if he already isn't.
But let me ask you this, Bitboy, can a project today come out and not have a figurehead?
It's hard because of the marketing, because marketing is so pivotal to this space right now for new projects coming out that they really need kind of a figurehead. They need someone out front, at least in some capacity. I mean, we can look at almost everything in the top 20 and we can tie a person to them. I can't think of
absolutely.
Maybe like Stellar. I mean, I guess you can kind of tie Jed McCaleb to it, but But he actually has done a good job from distancing himself and kind of laying in the weeds a little bit with it. But so I don't know. It's one of those, just like we see in crypto all the time, and another catch-22. So
there's only one person in charge of Monero, and there's the team. None of them use their real names. Only Fluffy Pony is the only guy that finally came out and is like, here's who I actually. But even still, they by and large they were like, we don't want you to know because we are doing something that a lot of governments, let's be honest, a lot of governments might have an issue with the fact that we are building this.
So we can all look up to Verge, right? Are they anonymous? Didn't he dox himself? I heard he doxed himself recently.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't think if Vitalik died tomorrow, I don't think Ether would go away. But would it have a huge impact? Absolutely. And so I do see it as a detriment that you have figureheads at the forefronts of a lot of these cryptocurrencies. I would prefer that people just use things based on the technology itself. But I mean, human nature, people are always looking for somebody to lead the charge and to be. And I think that's a lot of the reason for a lot of the infighting when it comes to Bitcoin, because there's no. There hasn't really been this is the guy.
Roger Ver.
It was. Oh man, yeah. But that's part of the reason why you have people like Roger that can come out and say, well, actually, this is real Bitcoin. Well, I mean, that's a pain, but at the same time, it's nice to see that in the face of stuff like that and all of these forks, Bitcoin is still just Bitcoin, and it's able to just kind of go on its own. And a lot of people have a problem with especially I was talking to Krista Rose when we were in.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and his big thing is all about governance, and we need somebody at the forefront saying what this is and being the official Bitcoin. And I think the total opposite. I think if anything, all of these people claiming that something else is Bitcoin or this is the next Bitcoin, and Bitcoin just keeps on being there and being it, and people know what it is. That's the biggest use case out of any cryptocurrency I've seen. There's nobody to tell you what it is. It just is.
Yeah, that's all. Like, how many of you guys have read The Internet of Money? Just out of curiosity.
I haven't read
it.
Yeah, that was first of all, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely worth the read. Andreas Antonopoulos's book, and that he was talking about some things in that were pretty mind blowing. Specifically about how it's like the fact that Bitcoin exists and is a decentralized thing. People have been trying to break this specific thing for a long time, and because it's got such a robust development community and the longest chain, and everything else, it's just people have been trying to kill Bitcoin or break Bitcoin since Bitcoin existed, and it's still here, and it's still robust, and it's still resilient. And people can keep trying to make. I think every single fork is a cash grab.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like, because otherwise, if it wasn't like, you can make a new currency, but if you're making a fork of Bitcoin, it's a cash grab. Because if you really just cared about Bitcoin, you would actually just continue to contribute to what it is and try to shape what it is, rather than say, we disagree with this fundamentally.
I disagree with that, Somniac. I think, especially with like Bitcoin Cash, I mean, he doesn't need the money. Roger Ver didn't. Bitcoin Jesus doesn't need the money.
About a hurt ego.
I think you pronounced Judas wrong.
So he doesn't need it. So I think he's actually trying to, in his mind, he envisions what Bitcoin used to be. Mm-hmm. He's trying to make that still, be that through.
Well, supposedly the rumor is, the speculation is, and it's, by his actions, it would seem to kind of back that up. Of course, I don't have anything substantial here, but that it's about a hurt ego, and that it's deeply personal between Roger Ver and the other devs, or the other people that are with the Bitcoin Foundation and stuff. So, because there's a nerve that's been touched with him. It's not just, he comes out and talks about what's good for Satoshi's vision all the time. It's
his marketing tactic is totally wrong. That is one thing I disagree with him on. Like, instead of talking about how Bitcoin Cash, what they're doing, how they can further things, he's always comparing it to what Bitcoin isn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that method is totally incorrect. But to me, I'm like, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much he talks. It doesn't matter how much Bitcoin does what it does. I think the market is going to pick. And that's ultimately, I love that. The market will pick. You can't buy that.
Well, and it's in a way, I am kind of thankful that he's been around, because he's been good at what he does. He's very good at being front and center and finding ways into all of these media, on mainstream media, and he's all over the place saying this is real Bitcoin. But had we not had that, we wouldn't have had a litmus test of what happens when you have more of like a social attack on what Bitcoin is.
That's true. I hadn't really considered that point of view.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all part of Bitcoin. It prides itself at being so robust because so many people are actively trying to attack the protocol, but people are actively trying to attack people's perception of what it is as well. And so that makes that aspect of it stronger too. So, I mean, for all the shit I give Roger Ver, I mean, glad to have you, buddy.
Yeah, I say you got to have a foil, right? I mean, you never know what's a good day in the market until you see a red day in the market. So you got to have a foil to know what's good and what isn't, I guess. So I don't know. Yeah. I listen to him talk, and sometimes I almost buy it, right? Like, I almost buy it, but there's just
hard. I cringe.
There's just too much venom.
I can't get past the way he talks to people and interrupts them. It's not. Is very inefficient in the way he's trying. He needs to get a PR person and just let that, get a pretty girl and have her do her thing or something. I don't know.
They have them at the booth, don't they?
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, gents, I really do have to wrap here. But I want to say that I'm so excited that I got to chat with all you guys. It's been it's been a few weeks since the Litecoin Summit. Yeah. So it's really, really good to see you guys again. I really appreciate it.
Little reunion.
Yeah. Thanks
for having us on. I mean, same. You're always welcome on my channel. I got Blood coming on Monday. Bitboy and I had one, but he had to reschedule for some
my TV show.
Okay, I didn't know if we were allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it now.
Awesome, dude. So we're gonna. So yeah, obviously both you guys are all welcome on my channel. I'd love to have you on. This is I really enjoy this kind of content because it's not just me sitting staring at charts and being a talking head. It's actually allows me to help kind of formulate my thoughts a little bit more, and it's great to get opinions and feedback from people that also have educated perspectives. So I appreciate you guys. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. You too. Do we want to go down the line and kind of give our information? Because this is on Bitboy right now. It's going to be on mine later. So
I'll close it up and then I'll close the stream. So.
All right, cool. You guys can find me over at Crypto Somniac. That's the market never sleeps. Neither do we. So cryptosomniac.com. You can find us on YouTube, just YouTube/Crypto Somniac. Crypto Somniac on Twitter, Crypto Somniac. It's Crypto Somniac everywhere. If you want to follow me personally, it's Crypto Sine Wave, like a sine wave. So you can follow me on Twitter or Telegram that way as well. And love to have you guys come check it out. If you enjoyed this conversation, you should come check us out 6 p.m. on Monday. We have our whole TA team, and we're gonna have Blood come on and have.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So Crypto Blood, YouTube, Crypto Blood _ on Twitter. And that's pretty much where I'm always doing my thing. So check me out, people.
Yeah, cool. Again, BTC Sessions is my channel on YouTube. I've got tons of stuff. I'm always uploading. But if you want to hit me up on Twitter at BTC Benny, and I am on Facebook, but crypto Facebook is a dark place. I don't recommend you go there.
Yeah, so, I agree.
On Twitter.
Oh, cool. All right, guys. Well, I am Bitboy Crypto. You guys can find me on YouTube, Bitboy Crypto. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Bitboy_hodl. And, you guys check out this really cool project I'm involved in also, which is Crypto Cake TV. It's a 24/7 crypto news channel with some pretty cool shows on it. That's hopefully debuting next year. You guys make sure you look them up and give them a follow also. So that's it, guys. Big shout out to the Bit Squad, everybody, for joining us. Until next time, Bitboy out.
Bitboy!
Right on.
All right, guys. We're stopped.
Sweet.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great.